All right, Brinson, we'll come back to your favorite player, Christian McCaffrey.
Dude, did you see the end of this game? What they did?
Oh yeah, it was like
so ridiculous.
It was like the homecoming game where like the senior comes back because he broke his leg in week 1, and we're gonna give him a touchdown because he's never gonna play again. And that's Christian McCaffrey.
Adamant about breaking the record for like 18 straight games with a touchdown rushing and receiving, and we're like went for it on 4th down and threw to McCaffrey. And like if you're Doug Peterson,
let me put it this way though. So just to get to producer Harry's sort of punchline here, he claims, and I think I agree with him. I want to hear what you guys think. The healthy 49ers are still the best team in the NFL, and I would take it a step further. Turns out Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel are pretty important.
Yeah, I think that's So, yeah, I think it's health is what's going to determine whether or not the 49ers make a Super Bowl run. And that, it was noted before this game that the Jaguars play zone at a top 5 rate in the NFL. Deebo Samuel, known zone beater. George Kittle ended up having the long touchdown, 66-yard catch. He literally walked into the end zone. It was pretty funny. Brandon Ayuk caught a touchdown pass as well. Deebo only 4 catches for 30 yards. I think they would have used him more if they'd had to.
The end around too for the touchdown with Trent Williams leading the way.
Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think exactly. Great point. Like that was the microcosm of what the 49ers need to be as good as they can be, which is have Trent Williams, have Deebo Samuel. Like those guys are freaks. Trent Williams is the best offensive lineman in football, and Deebo Samuel is a unicorn, as I point out regularly. Like you need Deebo Samuel, you need Trent Williams, and when you have them, you are a dynamic and very difficult to stop offense.
So, Breach, let me mention this, and then you can expand on it. But I was never under the impression that Brock Purdy was turning back into a pumpkin. I think the concussions at the end of the game against your Bengals was one thing. I thought he played well right before the bye in the game they lost at the end of the 3-game losing streak, and then he got concussed at the end of that game. It wasn't official. But I'm just looking at the true media numbers here for EPA per dropback, expected points added. Brock was 3rd on Sunday behind Dak Prescott, who threw for 1 million yards against the Giants, and Jared Goff, who threw for 5 million yards against the Chargers. Where are you on Brock Purdy, and where are you on producer Harry?
Those ratings passed the eye test, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And where are you on the idea that the 49ers, when healthy, are pretty much unbeatable?
I am on with Purdy that if he is not concussed or coming off the concussion, that he plays reasonably well football. He's got a pretty strong track record so far. So, I mean, we saw it today. He went off. But I do think it's healthy, or I think it's key that he does have all his weapons, that Deebo Samuel, he doesn't put up huge numbers. I mean, today he only had 59 total yards, but he just spaces out the entire offense and gives the defense such a huge weapon to worry about, because you don't know if he's going to be catching passes or if he is going to be running the ball. And he opens things up for Brandon Ayuk, and he opens things up for George Kittle. And so, yeah, he's definitely important to that offense. You guys mentioned Trent Williams. Obviously, you have an all-pro left tackle. If he's not on the field, that is not a good thing. So, yeah, if the 49ers are healthy, they're good. But I think the only problem with saying that, though, is that every team deals with injuries. I mean, we just talked about the Texans. The Texans didn't have their top receiver, their top running back, their kicker. They had backups, like Nico
Collins, their offensive line for the first month
and they still beat a good team. So, like, in the NFL, you have to figure out how to win when you're dealing with injured players, especially the 49ers, because they always seem to deal with injuries. I don't know what's going on over there. So, yes.
Well, I would just point out, too, that, like, their 3 losses, they happened in a row. If you spread them out, and they lost to the Bengals. I mean, the Browns by 2 points. They lost to the Vikings by 5 in like a crazy game. You had and then they lose to the Bengals by 2 touchdowns. Like, I think if you instead of having the Niners start out 5-0 and then lose 3 straight, if you have them like sort of alternating win-loss, it's just the nature of the beast. There's way less panic about San Francisco, and and it's like, but yeah, like Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel. I mean, yes, to your point, Breach, everybody needs to be healthy, but clearly they could easily have 1 loss right now.
Well, and to your guys' point, if I had to bet money on an NFC team to get to the Super Bowl right now, I'd probably bet the 49ers, but I would be holding my breath every week, hoping that one injury could totally derail them, whether it's Christian McCaffrey or one non-quarterback injury. I don't think there are very many teams out there where a non-quarterback injury would totally derail a team. It just seems like that's what happens with the 49ers.
I will say, though,
sorry,
just quickly in Brock's defense, or as Joe Musso, our buddy and colleague, has now coined him, Glock Purdy, which I sort of love, because he's all ablazing or whatever, something that's sort of the The defense sucked against the Vikings. Steve Wilkes basically had to apologize for that touchdown that they gave up at the end of the first half to Jordan Addison. And you can attest, Breach, they no-showed against Joe Burrow, who was pinpoint precise last week. So that hasn't helped when the stars go down on the other side of the ball. That said, but as Brinson noted, if they were
Chase Young
alternating,
yeah, and then Chase Young comes in, and second quarter, him and Nick Bosa can sandwich Trevor Lawrence, force a fumble. And I was like, all right, well, this defense is going to be even better now. So that might have solved their pass rushing problems.
Let me ask you about Trevor Lawrence, because he did not play well. And yeah, they were getting after it. And he had some questionable interceptions. The one the laser that he threw, I think the ATN that was intercepted by Ufanga, was problematic. And he just seemed off. And maybe that's the defense, and the defense is back to form in San Francisco. Are there any lingering concerns about Trevor not being franchise quarterback consistency, Brinson? Or are we okay?
No. I mean, he hadn't been. He hadn't been great this year. Disappointing. Look, you can basically chalk it up to Pete Prisco picking him to win MVP and mushing the crap out of him. I think the expectations were so high that and I would also say that he hasn't had to necessarily do as much either, because the defense has been better. And Travis Etienne's been fantastic. They lost to the Chiefs in that low-scoring game. Mahomes didn't do much. But by the way, they also lost to the Texans at home by 20 points, which is going to be huge for the tiebreaker purposes there. But yeah, I understand I see the criticism. I hear the criticism of Trevor Lawrence. If you want to criticize him, it's fine. I'm not gonna fight back and pound the table against it. But I'm not particularly worried about it at this point in time. Richard Sherman, by the way, ripping Trevor Lawrence as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Ooh.